So, hello friends, welcome once again. This is CA Rajiv Katlawala, and I'm the author of the book "How to Profit from Technical Analysis." And the video which you are seeing right now is mainly focused on one question which is in everybody's mind. Those who are tracking the currencies, or probably you are not tracking the currencies, you are more concerned with the equity markets or the commodity markets. But still, every person, there is a fear in the mind of every person in India, especially whether the USD INR, which is right now quoting at around 83, whether we will ever see a fall in the USD INR, that is whether the rupee will appreciate in the near future or maybe in the next few months or not. So in fact, one person in fact asked me whether really we will ever see a price level of 80 rupees from the current levels, because it keeps on increasing or rising every day. Now, this is, in fact, I'm not going to analyze whether this particular, USD INR is going to fall or rise, or what are the levels or targets. But the basic, view which I'll be putting forward in this particular video is whether this rise in the USD INR means whether this rupee depreciation, is it an event which is unprecedented? Let us try to check whether it has never happened in the past. If yes, then probably we will have to dig deeper. So in this entire analysis which I'll be doing right now, what we are going to discuss is whether such a depreciation of the rupee has ever happened earlier or not. So for our analysis purposes, I am taking the last 10 years, and what I have done is that I have tried to check the weekly price charts of the USD INR in the last 10 years. That is from 2010. I have purposefully ignored the 2008 crisis. So 2010 to the current, or 2011 to the current. Uh, we are at 2022 right now. So in the last almost 11 years, I have tried to analyze whether such rupee depreciation was unprecedented or something similar has ever happened earlier. So I think on your screen, what you're seeing, friends, is the price chart of the USD INR. Now, the USD INR weekly price chart is what is depicted here. I have taken the weekly, indicating that each price bar is a weekly price bar, so that we can get an idea about we have a compressed version of the price movements over a period of time. So this now let me give you an idea. This is the first rise which I have taken. As I said, after 2010, I have done the analysis. So here, as you see the cursor here, this is almost 2011, and we saw the USD INR quoting at around 44 rupees in 2011. Yes, it was at around 44. From there, we saw a good rise in the USD INR, in the sense that the rupee depreciated all the way to 54 levels. So from 44, we saw a rise in the USD INR to 54, and this rise was almost 23%. So we can say in this particular period, from 2011 to 2012 December, the rupee depreciated by almost 23%. There was a rise of 10 rupees, and that 10 rupees gets converted into 23%. So this was the first time that we saw this sort of a rise. But before you think that previous to this probably nothing of this sort has happened. No, in the year 2000 to 2008, when we saw the Lehman crisis, the depreciation of the rupee was still higher. So so the first, this I will be marking this as our first. uh, This is the first slot where we saw the rupee depreciate. Uh, if you observe here, we are seeing 19 bars. This means 19 weeks it took for the rupee to depreciate 23%. That is 19 weeks is approximately 133 days, which is also written here. So this was the first instance when we saw a rise of 23%. Now, subsequently, you can see here we saw a correction in the USDINR back to 48. From 54, it fell to 48. Then we again saw a rise. Now, here, if I put my cursor here, I can observe that this is almost 2012 February. And from there, all the way to June 2012, we saw once again a rise of 17.9, almost 18% in 20 bars. That is 20 weeks. We saw another rise, another rupee depreciation from 48 to 57. Again, a 10 rupee jump. Now, let us go a little higher again. Let us go ahead in time, and now what we see is after that, we saw we saw a stagnation. And from 2013 April, we again saw a rise from 53 levels. The USD INR went all the way to 68 again in 19 weeks, around 133 days, I'm sorry. So from 53 to 68, a huge jump. Again, after that, we saw there was a lot of correction. From 68 levels, we saw the USDINR going back to 58 levels. After that, there was some correction, some stagnation, and now we saw, this is again in 2014. From middle of 2014, we saw the USDINR again rising from 58 all the way back to the 68 previous high level. This again was a 18% jump. Please, I'm repeating the percentages so that when we come to the current structure, we will know whether it is huge or not huge. So 23%, 18%, again 18%, and so on. After this, as this rose, this was a slow movement. 92 weeks it took, almost 600 days, almost 2 years it took. So from 2014 middle to 2016 February, the rupee depreciated by 18%. Now again, let us try to go and see the fifth instance. And here what we see is 2018 January, the dollar was at around 63 rupees. From there, we saw a rise, and in 37 weeks, that is around 250, 260 days, almost a year, we can say, we saw the rupee depreciating to 74, from 63 to 74. Again, a 17% rise in this period of around 1 year. After that, now let us try to again see the sixth instance. The sixth instance comes at in 2019 July. Here, the after the correction from 74 to 68, the USD INR again started an upward movement, and that upward movement from in the next 40 weeks, almost again to 280 days, the USD INR rose 12%, not much, but 12%, from 68 to a high of 77. Now, let us come to the current structure. So right now, what you are seeing on your screen on the right hand side, this is your current structure, and from a low of around 74, those of you who track the currencies, you would know that for a long time the USD INR was in a range of 74, 75, and right from January 2022, when it was at around 74. From there, we saw a slow and steady rise, but recent rise has been very fast. But we were seeing a slow and steady rise. And as of today, as we speak, the USDINR has risen by 12%. Yes, 12% in 42 weeks, almost a year. The year is not yet over, so almost a year we can say. And in the last 10 months approximately, the rupee has depreciated by around 12%. So if I this is the seventh instance, friends, in the last 10 years. This is the seventh instance where the rupee has not only depreciated by more than 12%. In many of the cases earlier, the rupee depreciation was as high as 17, 18%, and in one instance it was 23%. Therefore, I think instead of having a panic in our minds, a fear in our minds, I would suggest that this is not an unprecedented thing. Uh, every time the rupee has depreciated, the USD INR has risen. Every time that has happened, the USD INR has created newer highs. Yes, but subsequently we have seen a correction, and if you see, most of the corrections are also equally, if not more, but more or less, if the dollar has risen by, let us say, around 14 rupees, the correction has been somewhere around 7 to 8 rupees or 10 rupees. So right now, as we see, the rise has been from 74 to the current 83 rupees. So whenever the USD INR peaks out, the subsequent correction will give the chance to the importers, and that is why I tell my clients who are firms and companies, where I give currency related advisory. I tell them that in every rise we must start the hedging, because once it peaks out, when the correction starts, we have seen in the past that corrections are equally fast and corrections are equally deep. So I presume this will give you some idea. It would have been an eye opener for you. It would have given some idea as to whether or not we should panic. Of course, it is a situation which is not, the global markets right now are definitely in, a lot of things are happening, negative things. So interest rates are rising, inflation is rising across. But every time we have seen in the last 10 years, the rise in the USDINR, that is the rupee depreciation, every time it has happened, some or the other events would have happened, whether the events were domestic or events would have been international also. So right now, what we see is, rather than the domestic events, it is the international events which are influencing the dollar. And to a large extent, I would say, percentage wise, if we see, to a large extent, the dollar index, which has risen to almost 115, right now it is at 112. So the dollar index rising has had a huge impact on the USD INR. The dollar has risen against almost all currencies. And that is the reason, friends, that we are seeing this movement. So, as I said, the reasons earlier also, in the last 7 instances or last 6 instances, some or the other reasons were there. and but subsequently we have seen corrections, and now let us hope that the USD INR does not go much higher. The rupee does not fall much. As Indians, we will always like that the rupee should be stable, or at least it should start appreciating, and it should not depreciate. So friends, I hope this video will give you some good understanding about how to see the previous data, the previous charts, to understand what is happening around us. Finally, I would like to end with a quote. I have read somewhere, the future is nothing but the past entering through another door. So thank you, friends, for watching this video, and have a great time. Thank you, and happy Diwali.